Yeah, press play over here.
On that side of the system. So the old crappy one can only really run, the wave maker, and it does that okay. I don't have to worry about it. It's got enough power to do that. And then on the other side, I have 3 pumps running out of this here, a couple of aerators, and a few other odds and sods that are kind of not even a part of this, but just for power. The pumps that are running out of this system, one is 9,000 litres an hour, and one's 2,500 litres an hour, and another one that's 2,500 litres an hour. It's hard to get through. But in this setup here, there's 2 pumps. One runs a big triangle system. It's kind of funky. We're just filling up again, replanning it out. As you can see, it's like a big triangle, and the water gets pumped up from this sump, goes up into the top of it, runs its way down at some fair speed, and then back into that sump. So there's a pump for that. There's a 3,500 litre pump coming into the trout tank out of that system there as well. That system's got a big triangle and 3 grow beds run down there, so it's a fair whack. So that's a pretty loaded up kind of system. The largest pump, 9,000 litres an hour, in that system over there, which runs those big grow beds, plus a few seedling beds and that kind of thing out of the tank, set before. So this solar, down there, I'll show you the screens through all these massive cables. You can see it's charging, little lights up the side going up and down. You can see the volts coming in, 132, 127, 129. Output is 220 at 50 Hz, that thing in the middle. And you can see the still here. The only trick is normally, if I do something about this one, it's typical kind of shaft for a spark plug with a 5/8 on the end of it, with a little rubber stopper inside to grab the plugs out. And I found that I couldn't use that, so I had to use 2 of these half ones. So if you can see roughly, 2 of those is the long one. The long one's probably about 15 centimetres long, 15 centimetres in length. But because of the brake, the pumps that are running out of this system, one is 9,000 litres an hour, and one's 2,500 litres an hour, and another one that's 2,500 litres. But in this setup here, there's 2 pumps. One runs a big triangle system. It's funky. We're just filling up again, replanning it out. As you can see, it's like a big triangle, and the water gets pumped up from this sump, goes up into the top of it, runs its way down at some fair speed, and then back into that sump. So there's a pump for that. There's a 3,500 litre pump coming into the trout tank out of that system there as well. That system's got a big triangle and 3 grow beds run down there, so it's a fair whack. So that's a pretty loaded up kind of system. The largest pump, 9,000 litres an hour, in that system over there, which runs those big grow beds, plus a few seedling beds and that kind of thing out of the tank. So this solar, I'll show you the screens through all these massive cables. You can see it's charging, little lights up the side going up and down. You can see the volts coming in, 132, 127, 129. Output is 220 at 50 Hz, that thing in the middle. And you can see the still here. The only trick is normally, if I do something about this one, it's typical kind of shaft for a spark plug with a 5/8 on the end of it, with a little rubber stopper inside to grab the plugs out. And I found that I couldn't use that, so I had to use 2 of these half ones. So if you can see roughly, 2 of those is the long one. The long one's probably about 15 centimetres long, 15 centimetres in length. But because of the brake, if you can really see in there, the torch in there, you've got the brake boost booster there, and the last power pack underneath the brake booster down in there somewhere. So the long shaft was too long and it would crash into the brake booster. So basically you need two shorties, which are probably about 7 centimetres long, and with those two you put one onto the socket, the 5/8 socket to the plug for that final hole at the end there, for the final spark plug. Drop it in the hole. You can just see the tip of this of the end. With the tip you connect another one, which at the moment I've got I'm using on the other end of that, but basically the two shorty plates, so it's 70 or whatever, and they'll be probably about 600 grams about this time next year. By the time of Christmas next year they'll be well edible. So yeah, so the whole thing totally works by itself, and like I say, having the right kind of fish. I was going to get trout, but they more need meat and they want live food and whatever, but having the silver perch in the big tank over there means that you basically just rip off whatever and chuck it in the tank, and that's what we eat. Same with the yabbies, they're eating their own food that they're making out of food, and the same with the worm farm. The worms are also going to be used to feed the fishes when they get bigger. There's about 2,000 in that, and I'll put another stage on top of it and then separate them and they'll start breeding. So the system will basically feed itself with no need to buy any food, and you end up with 70 fish, whatever yabbies. I think I've got about 10 yabbies in there at the moment, because yabbies eat each other if you put too many in one go. And yeah, lots of food, so it's interesting stuff, it's good fun, and pain in the arse to have to move them. So yeah, I've got a massive crane coming, like an 8-ton crane, so I'm not going to empty all the soil or bucket it or anything. I've just got a massive crane coming in the middle. You can see part of it, lift one by one, dump it on the back of his truck and drag it over and re-flop them on the ground. I'm not interested in doing any hard work. Enough work just quick thing on the truck style. I only started at the beginning of the week. The biggest question was, do I build it out of wood or metal? And I finally decided to go with metal for strength. Now the truck that it's on is this little Isuzu, little crew cab, so it has enough for 6 people to sit in. And the basic idea is to build a structure on the back of it using recycled and repurposed materials. Open an extra bit of space for when we're travelling around Australia. You can buy a Patrol or a Land Cruiser in Toll Clothing, but I thought, why not use a truck? It's a lot more stable and solid, and it gives us more. So on day one you can see that got the main sides up, the floor down, some side bracing, that kind of thing. This kind of build, it's always a hard question of how large you go with the metal. With a 50mm, 2.5mm thick mild steel, and it's probably a lot of overkill. It's also a lot of weight, probably sitting at about 400 kilos so far. But I really wanted something that would not fall apart, pretty much unbreakable. So day 2 we got up the loft area. So the loft up there, which is right over the cab. It's quite a big cab, it's a dual cab or a big cab truck. And that will give us another be big enough for a king size bed and about 1.3 metres tall. So not a massive space, but a good little loft for sleeping. And the downstairs area, the larger into the loft with a smaller opening, all kind of gypsy style in the middle, and LED light doors at the side. So pretty good, pretty happy with this week's work. I can't do full the commitments. I'm pretty crappy back, so I get sore, I gotta stop. But pretty happy with this week. The truck wasn't slowing me down. I've had a few headaches trying to get parts for the truck. The truck wasn't slowing me down so much. I've had a bit more done, but either way I'm still happy. It was a good week for the build, and everything's coming along well. Now I've just got to concentrate on the truck for a couple of days, so you can see it's already up there, and I've got to do a bit of bench work to surface sort of started, so I've got to take all this suspension out, and replace all the rubbers in there, so they're pretty bashed around. So that's a very unexciting job for next week. I'd rather be playing with my tiny house. go. Just a quick run around week 2. And, when this is built, it also goes on this way. I've shown you before, we take the tray off. Everything else on the truck is blown. We just take all the soft with a bad back, and now I've got heat. Heat kind of issues. We've got 38s, 39s, and that kind of thing for a couple of days. So I just wanted to do a quick one, even though I haven't done a lot. There's the skylight, got to cut that back now. And yeah, so it was a bit slow for the last week and a half. But the main thing is I'm really happy to have my truck with plates on it. It was a bit of an ordeal for multiple reasons, and the main one being that this truck had been downgraded from 5.2 tonnes to just under 4.5 for a car licence, so anyone can drive it. But we had a bit of a dilemma as the paperwork had been lost and all this kind of stuff that was done many years ago, 2002, and it looked like it would never be on the road again. Without this engine now on the road, I'm looking at about 8, so I'm looking at bringing my gypsy style motorhome to 2. I'm looking at about 1,300, so I've got about 700 left to go. Because I've splurged a bit on my beautiful panelling that will go on the outside. Really thick, 2 mil thick. I've already got them all cut up, ready to go. So these are all ones for the side here. And once I'm rolling, because I've got a lot cut up now, they won't take long to put on, and it'll make a total difference. This will go from looking like a frame to looking like a gypsy style truck. So I'm out of insulation. I've got my bubble stuff, which I love. I think it's a really good one. And another thing we do saves a lot of money is we buy bulk. That includes herbs, spices, and everything. The price of just like 250 watt panels off this one, and that's all you can really take, because you've got 1,200 watts. Like these aren't precise figures, but these are roughly what I've got. 1,200 watts. So I won't calculate 4,250 without blowing it off. I think it's 40 amp is all it can handle. And then most of my panels are like 9 amps, so again I was limited to 4 again. Howdy peoples. So today we're doing undersink filters. So it's not a hard job, probably 10 minutes I would say, roughly. And yeah, I'll put a link in the description for the filters that I'm using. It doesn't really matter, any filter is going to be better than none. Our water quality in Victoria is so-so, and we wouldn't drink water out of the tap. Not a good idea, full of fluoride, chlorine, leads and heavy metals and all sorts of junk, and you just don't want that. So this is not expensive either. I paid about $120 for the 3 filters. So not expensive and a 10-minute job to do. I'd say nearly anyone could do it. My positioning might be a little bit trickier than most people, but you can always adapt what I'm doing to what it looks like under your sink. Everyone's sink's going to be slightly different. So let's get into it. So I've got the missus doing with this today, so we'll see how she goes. But we've got Shield is the company that I'm using. So again, we'll put a link in the description. I just bought this online from their website, and we'll send the links and whatever. So we'll get into it. So about $120. Took me a couple of days to get it, but they were quite quick. It's been sitting around for a week, and it's something I've been meaning to do. I'm sure it's sorting it out. Alright, so we have instructions, and as a male, no, we don't worry about that. Now we've got some cords. Cords pretty fun. These are the filters. I'll show you which one as they come out. So, the first filter we've got, I'll just try and track you. So you can see there, fluoride, lead. It's got a little cap that will have to come off, so you don't need to do that yet. So that's one filter. Now this one, nano silver, antibacterial. So the silver is like an antibacterial agent. Silver is used in all sorts of things like band-aids, all sorts of things. And silver is very powerful at getting rid of toxins, as well as carbon. And this filter, which is just like, they just call it SF, it's just basically to get big bits out. So this is just going to get rid of dirt and whatever. So this is the first filter, and then it will run into the nano silver filter, and then it will run into the fluoride lead filter, which is the finest. So this one's finest, so they'll grade up inside. They're full of different materials, but this one's for the big stuff, this one's for the middle stuff, and this one's for the ultra fine. We're talking nano sort of stuff. Now, I would always suggest getting any filter system that should have the fluoride one. If it doesn't have a fluoride carbon filter in it or anything like talking about fluoride, it's not going to remove small enough stuff. And fluoride is one of the main things that I want out of our water. It's unnecessary, it's mining waste, and it's just a cheap way for them to poison everyone. So get that shit out of you. You don't want it. Alright, the last bit that's in my box that's obvious is the head cap. So this part will screw here and here under the sink. And you can see here the filters will just lock into it. Now this is such a simple system that the filters literally lock in like that. That's it. So when you're replacing filters, that's it. You just put a new filter in, turn it, just like a light bulb. It's got the same kind of fitting. So that's nice and easy. Easy for anyone to change and replace, so nothing tricky. And they've got a mystery little box here, which will just be parts that we need. A stopcock, which also has an inline valve, this little part here, so that's where this white tubing here is going to attach. Now these are quite amazing. The modern day parts, you'll see this blue, see this bit here, there's a little collar, it lifts up and down. All you've got to do is jam that white hose over there into it, and that's it. There's no screwing, no nothing. And if you want to remove it, it's got this little lip here, and you lift that little lip like that and pull, and it will disconnect that hose. So that is just clever and simple, and they do not leak. So this little stopcock has an off and on valve here, and it's also a regulator, because you'll find that if you have it full blast, it's going to just piss water through the filter too fast. So once you've installed it all, you'll be back to this part, and you'll just be finely adjusting the regulation of water entering. So that's pretty simple stuff. Now, next we've got fittings that are going to be used to put the tap on the bench. So this is an undersink with one of the little tap that sits on the sink. That's the spout for the tap. Stainless steel, couple of O-rings which can be pulled out for cleaning, which is very convenient. It does not screw in, so that's very handy just for cleaning around, tiles behind it, that kind of thing. We've got an inliner here. Now this is a reducer, I believe. I didn't read the instructions, as you saw, I just looked them up, but I'm going to tell you that that is a reducer which will reduce pressure. I don't know whether I want to use a reducer. I like to manually control things myself, so it's up to you whether you manually control it with a little stopcock that I showed you a minute ago, or put a reducer in. So this will lower the pressure of your house, so it's not popping cords off the filter, or not filtering too quickly, because filtering too quickly is not going to be good. And then we've got another, last but not least, we've got a mystery pouch. What this one is. So I'm going to assume this is the part that holds the tap head that I just showed you, because it's wrapped up, so that's what it is. So this part here is going under sink, that it has a thread, so the nuts will come up here and that'll hold that on your sink, and that's the tap handle for adjusting water flow out of your filter. So that's all the parts, that's not too hard to deal with. Maybe face down. Alright, so we've done our little unboxing, we've got all our parts. Now we're going to go under bench and actually have a look at what's going on and how we're going to do this. Alright, so we'll pull up a PT, so there we go. So this is my dirty old sink. Our house is 1940s and probably not been renovated for a fair while. So looking under the sink, it's going to be a bit hard to see some of the parts. Where my hand's tapping, go up just a little bit. That'll do. So up where I'm touching, I'll pull to another camera in a moment. This is where we're coming in from. And I've decided that over on this side, because it's kind of a protected area, because we have lots of bottles and things that are normally down here, I'm going to put the head mount here for all the cartridges, because it's out of the way, it's protected by the sink and these pipes and that kind of thing. Give me a down cam. Huh? Alright, so here you can see, this is where our cold water's coming in. Now,
in a normal sink, this stopcock here, if I turn this on, water will piss out right now everywhere. I have not turned the mains off. I didn't need to because this thing is called a stopcock. It's basically a tap. And here, if I turn this, water's going to come out of here. All right, now you'll see I've got this extra T here. Now this is because we've had a different kind of filtering system under this sink before. This is not what normal under sinks are going to look like. It's going to look like this stopcock coming out of this wall inlet here. So this wall inlet, this thing here, that's your main water supply coming into the kitchen for cold water. So this T is an extra add-on that we have that you will not. So don't be confused if you don't see this T. That T is not a part of it. You will have a stopcock like this, and it will be coming out with a hot hose on it going to your cold tap. They're generally a silver braided hose going straight from here to the tap above on the sink. So at the end of the day, all you need to know is the stopcock here. Now we're going to need a couple of tools. We'll go maybe give me a face cam. All right, so tools of the day. Pair of scissors to cut the cord and that kind of thing. I've got a drill. Now my drill has got a funky little attachment on the end of it. You can see there, it's for going around corners. Give me a face down. And, now because I'm putting mine up under here, you can see here, I've just nailed, I didn't nail, but I've put these screws in using this side one, because as you can see here, I've got no room, and there's no way this drill is going to be able to get in there without a little right-handed angled drill bit. So this is just a $10 attachment. Give me face cam back. So this is just a $10 attachment you get at Bunnings. So it's basically just letting me go around corners while I'm drilling. Now it's not technical, you probably won't need that either. If you just put it somewhere else, I chose the most difficult position to put anything, just to be difficult and annoying. You won't need this. So don't be over confused by some of the things I'm showing you. A simple drill will do the job. You could even use a hand screwdriver if you just don't have a drill, but you should have a drill in your toolkit. Even if it's a $20 piece of shit from Bunnings, get a drill. Very handy. Alright, I've got a drill bit here. Now this is a step drill bit. You'll sort of see how it has steps. My camera will be very good at getting the steps. Maybe if I get that head. Alright. Anyway, it's got little steps. It's like it steps down, so it gives you a different depth. So when you're drilling in, you only want to go to the certain depth with the width of a hole. So I'm using this just because I've got this. You could also use a drill bit. And if you're using a drill bit, yeah, you can throw it at PT there if you want. So using a drill bit, I'll see if PTZ can get it.
You can see how hard it is now.
Yeah, it's just not wanting to
Focus on
give me better face cam. It's not doing any better than that. Alright, so anyway, so the drill bit that you use, this is the attachment that goes on your sink and the thread. So what you need to do is have a drill bit just oversized from this thread. So if I'm looking at my step down one, I can actually stick it in there. Well, it's now focusing, and I know that at that next level is how deep I want to drill through the top of my sink. All right, that's just how it works. Give me preset 3. Now, just for the hell's sake of it, that is a hole in our sink using a step down. Alright, so maybe PDZ. Oh yeah, you've got PDZ. So you can kind of see it's halfway between where the tiles start on the sink and that hole. If I get my, I'm going to take the sink, the tap fitting. So that's what we're after. So a drill bit a little bit larger than that. Alright, so all you got to do is put the drill bit at the end of it, and the drill bit needs to be a little bit wider than that thread, and then you've got the right idea. And then just simply drill down, and just like if you're going to drill, I would advise getting this part here. So this is the washer that makes it look pretty sitting on the sink. So I'll just show you how these come together. So that's what it will look like sitting on the sink, alright? Goes to the hole, and you can see that bottom ring there. It makes it look pretty, seals it with washers. Alright, so we have a washer there. Now, when you're going to drill, get your little disc, put it on the bench and line it up using this to where you want to be. So I want to not be cutting into the bench. I don't want to be on this lip here because that won't seal very well and water will get in from the sink. So put your little spacer kind of finishing off disc where it wants to be. Stick a texter or a pencil down inside the hole in the middle and leave a little mark, and that will be where you'll drill your hole. So it's pretty straightforward. Another minute job, and we will come back to this part later. We're not quite up to the sink install yet. Alright, so last tools we need. We've got some grippers, Stilsons, depends what you want to call them, and a pair of long nose pliers. Now, these two tools probably aren't necessary today, but if you had to adjust a tube that you put into something and it wasn't long enough or it's too long or something, if you use this, push it back on the clips that I showed you that these things have. See that little lip there? If I lift that, it's kind of hard to focus on, with pliers, then I can pull the white cable that plugs into the filters. Alright, so it's a maybe tool, but I just got it so I don't have to run out to the shed and get it in case I need to adjust anything. Alright, we're pretty much ready to roll. Alright, we'll start with the main unit. We've got our head unit. Alright, so we'll go to underbencher. And, alright, actually, we'll go to base camp just for a moment. I'll just show you a little trick. So, there's no template. I didn't read the instructions, but sometimes on instructions manuals, they give you a template, but you know, this template doesn't exist on their instruction manual. I'll just have a quick check. Alright, so here we've got two holes. Alright, so we need to put two screws where it all fits under the bench. So if I'm doing under bench and I want it up here, you need to mark it. So mark it with a pen just through the two holes, alright? And if you were in an area, which I was, which is a little bit hard to mark with a pen because I've got a really, really tight space going on here. You can see I've got no room to move. A little trick you can use, get your face cam, is if you tape the back end of where those screws are, you can see I've just thrown tape on there. If you get something like a pen or a pencil and find where the holes are on the tape and punch a hole through. So you can see my tape, no hole there yet, and I'm going to punch a hole through. So what I've done here is punch the hole through the tape, divvy down, divvy down camera there. And you'll see that now I've got my two holes in the tape, and if this is where I wanted to put the head unit, I just tape that to the wall and I drill a hole through the two little holes that I put in the tape. So that's going to be a marker. So it's an easy way to make a template to line things up. Now again, you might not need to worry about this, but it's a little trick that if you are in a confined, hard to get space, this has now formed a template to tell me exactly where the screws are going to go to hold the head plate on. Alright, so we got our head plate. I've pre-done my screws, so I can just hang that head plate. You can roughly see it there. Get me a down camera. And I'll just adjust this camera a little bit. Not easy to do under a sink. Just bear with me. Alright, there's the head unit. You can kind of see it at that angle. Alright, so we've got our head unit. Now, this head unit doesn't, it just hangs on those screws. So you'll see that if I wanted to change this in and out, I can. So you don't want to screw the screws really tightly down. You need to leave a couple of mils gap. So don't screw it right into the cupboard. Leave a couple of mils gap, and then you're able to just get the head plate and just put it on. And it's simple as that. Alright, so now we're going to do some more under the bench work. So stay there. Now just finding some stuff. Alright, we've got our little stopcock that we were talking about before. Now this is going to screw on to, I'll just adjust my camera again. So this is going to screw on to our outlet here. So this is the inlet for water coming into a normal cold tap. So you need to have undone the hose, and then we want to only hand tighten this on. So once it gets a thread, be always hand screwing very carefully. So these are plastic threads, so you don't want to damage them. You'll also see there's a little tiny bit of plumber's tape up the top. So plumber's tape, something you can use, but this stopcock has a washer in it. So you just want to hand tighten this, and you want the front facing you. So you want to be able to touch the regulator thing here. And like I said, I'm not going to put some of the stuff that they sent me on this. So that's pretty much hand tight, and that should be good enough. All right, so now I've got to cap this one off actually, because if you put this on where it should be up here, you wouldn't have this end sticking there. So bear with me at one mo. I'm just going to get an end cap. Again, you would not need to do this. This is just because, oh Jesus, our sink was set up for a different kind of filter a while back. Not these ones, so, oh my God. All right, that's not happening. So what I'm going to do, put on one with a end cap. Get rid of this. Again, you wouldn't be doing this on and off, but I've got one here that I've pre-end capped. So the end cap, again, like I said, this will not be how you do it. I really should take that T out to show you exactly what yours would look like normally, but at the end of the day, it's all been done and it's there. So that's what I'm doing. So hand tighten that well. The washer will seal everything. So we've got an end cap there. Again, you wouldn't have that. Yours would be here. You would be putting the hose to your cold water tap on this. Mine's over here. So mine's a little bit different. So this would be there connecting to the the inlet. And this would be where you screw on the braided hose, which you can't really see. I'll go up to the braided hose a little bit. Yeah, it's not really showing it. There's all this crap in the way. But up here, there's a braided hose. So anyway, that's the general idea of what's going on. All right. So now we need to get a tube from this stopcock here over to our head. So I'm just going to grab my cord. How's the cord in my pack? Hello. I just had, oh, there it is. I've already put it down here. Easy. All right, so we've got our cord here, and we're going to cut it to length, and I'll show you how easily these things go on. So the first part of the cord here, I'll turn this around so you can see it a bit better. All you've got to do is jam it in. Now that's it. I can't even pull that out anymore. That's done. And I want to go to the length to get into the side here. There's a little tiny joiner here. So we want length, and also give yourself a little bit of extra length so you can hide cords out of the way so people aren't going to bash it and that kind of thing. So my length I'm just going to do by hand. Make sure there's no kinks or anything in it. That length is looking good to me. So I'm going to put a cut there. Now this cord gets jammed into the head. You see how simple that is? That's now a plumbed up connection here going into our filters. All right, I'll go back to maybe face cam. All right, so it's not the easiest thing to see from here, but I'm at the other end of the head here. So we've got the same valve. So all I've got to do is make a clean cut. Make sure it's nice and clean. I'm sticking that cord in, and now that's connected as well. So this is like a minute job to do the plumbing, and these things will not pull out. This is really, really strong. Now we've got to send this to the tap on the sink. So I'm going to put the tap in the sink now, and then after that I'll connect this, and we're pretty much nearly done. That's how simple this job is. All right, we'll get up on the sink area. All right, and we've just got to get our little bits and pieces. So we've got our sink cover, and it has like a little washery bit on it, which is great. And under the sink, we're putting this washer and this hard washer. All right, so under the sink, this is what it's going to do. The soft washer will be on top of the tap fitting, and that's how it's going to look. All right, so we've got soft washer on top here and a hard plastic washer underneath. So that will allow a screw to push up and seal this into the underside of the tap. All right. Let's do it. Then we have our little screw which goes underneath the sink. Get a focus. Anyway, this is a screw that goes under the sink, so that'll be fine. All right, so these parts have to go on before you do any connection to the tap, because otherwise, it's all in the way. So we're going to put our soft washer first, hard washer, and screw up onto here. Now I'm just going to do it by feeling. So just put your hands under, get all the washers on, jam them up there. You can probably go under the sink. I don't know if you can see anything. Alright, now I'm guessing where everything is. So there are our washers. Threaded them up. These are all just to be done. These are to be done hand tight. You don't need any tools for this. If it doesn't have a nut fitting and you've got these little wings that my fingers are touching, that means do not use tools. It means hand tighten only. Otherwise, you'll get in trouble by snapping things, because unfortunately, most of everything we're dealing with is plastic and it's garbage. It will snap. Alright, that's done really tight, so that's pretty good there. Alright. Now, I've got this little piece here. This connects to the underside of the thread on the tap, and it allows you to put the cord in that tricky little sealer here. So I'm just going to jam the cord up so this screws onto the tap. You don't need plumber's tape. There's a washer in here, so it's very convenient. They've made this too easy. So now we're going under sink again, and we're just going to feel around. I can't see what I'm doing under the sink, so I'm just looking for bits. Here it is. Do this, take your time. You do not want to thread plastic things. Threading means that if you put it on the wrong way and the threads aren't marrying up very well, you will do some serious damage and it will not work. And again, you probably should turn off the mains. I didn't, but whenever you're doing stuff with plumbing, best idea is to turn off the mains. All right, now that again is hand tight. Because it's got a washer in it, you don't want to use tools. All right, we're nearly finished this job. Now we're taking the cable or the cord and we're just going to roughly measure it out and work out a way to get it there safely. So I want to go around a few things. I want to put a bit of a bend in it. Alright, and then I need to feel where that's going. So I've roughly marked it just by hand. So I'll be confidently cutting that. And now we're going to jam that into that fitting. Hopefully get a nice cut. Alright, that's jammed. Now, a few more turns just to get the actual tap real tight on the sink. I'm turning the top tap and not the nut. Because the nut's got a rubber washer, it's harder to do up the nut by hand than actually turning the top of the tap, which you kind of can't see, but just believe me. Right, we have a little bit of leftover. Give me a face cam. We have a I'll just get a bit of tracking going on here. Oh, my camera. Get on my face. I'm not pretty enough. The camera's not liking me. There we go. Alright. Now I've ended up with about this much leftover white cord. I'll probably zip tie or just sticky tape with my tape over there this under the sink, because in say a year's time I can replace some of the white cording. These cords pre-filter, like before they enter the filter, will get gummy and yucky. So keep your leftover so you don't lose it. Just tie it to one of the white cords underneath your sink, and then it's there for you. You know where it is. In a year's time, replace just from where the stopcock's letting water in from your house into the filters. The rest of the cords will be clean because they're after filter. So I'm going to keep this and sticky tape that under there for a later date. Alright, now we've just got to put our cartridges on. Now the first one we're doing is the SP or SF filter, which is, it's just going to get rid of the main contaminants. So we'll go under filter, under bench. Alright, now these are just like so easy, like a light globe. So I'm just going to screw that, turn it till it doesn't turn, and it locks in. You feel them lock in. Next one we're going to throw in is nano silver. So this one's antibacterial, using silver, which is awesome. That's going to go in the middle. So we're just going to screw that in the middle. Give it a couple of turns. It's about one turn, and then it goes up and in, and then once you can't turn it anymore, you know that is correct. And we'll get our last one, which is the most important one. We've got our fluoride lead remover. That's the last one. So these are now in a line from heavy particles to medium particles to the finest particles, and we're just going to put this one in. I don't know if our camera is really getting that. So that's it. Like, we have a filter system set up. Now, up onto the bench here, the last thing we've got to do is put our little spout on. Now you see the fitting here, it's just sitting there hanging around. These don't screw on, so this is just going to plop in. So it literally goes in. There's 3 washers down here. Just give it a good jam down. Jam it till you can't see any washers. Alright, so now we have our tap installed in our sink. This sink was not made to do this. Doesn't matter, drill a hole like we did. Now I'm going to boot it up. I'm going to open the water valve on the stopcock. You go underneath for me, yeah. So you'll hear that water starting to rush through the pipes. Now what we're doing is looking for leaks. It's not going to leak because I'm a champion, but we're looking for leaks. And you'll see up the top now, jump up here, face cam or whatever. You'll see up the top there's a lot of air hissing going on. Well, there we go, see the black? That's normal. That's carbon coming out of the filters. Now run this filter for about a minute. I'm not sure what the instructions tell you to do, but run the water for about a minute before you turn it off. It's just going to clean out carbon. It wouldn't hurt you, but you don't need to be drinking what's in that. So just give it a bit of a clean out. But we've got no leaks. Go under bench for a sec. So we've got no leaks. Everything's looking good. That's a really simple job. Now this here is the one I was talking about, which will let me adjust my pressure. Now if I go up to the top cam for a sec, you'll see that I'm adjusting pressure. Now, you see that? Now that's full pressure, which would be too much. You don't want that sort of pressure. We want to dial it back and keep dialing it back until it's, you know, fast but not extreme. So I'm happy with something like that. It's going to filter properly. So that's it. And again, I didn't use a couple of things. So we've got the reducer that's going to reduce pressure. Again, I like to manually control this because over time, if it gets a bit cloggy, I can just get under the sink and turn that little valve and just adjust pressure. Because, you know, but if you want to do it properly, they'll install your little regulator and be done with it. But yeah, not my style. All right, so that was pretty much install an undersink filter system. In the description, we're going to have links to where to buy them, all that kind of stuff. About $120. I don't know how long that took. I could look at this thing and it might tell me how long we've been. We've been like 20 minutes maybe, and that's me talking a lot of shit. So, you know, at the end of the day, if you were just doing this, if I was doing this without a camera, that was a 5-minute job. And if we go back to our little sink here, we don't have a pH test. which sometimes with these kind of filters, you're going to get a little testing kit. So you see there. So we might do the test. We'll do a test. Give me face cam again. Yeah, so what we're going to do, sometimes these systems, they'll actually give you an iodine, like a pH testing kit. This one didn't come with one, which is not the end of the world, but the biggest deal about these kind of filters isn't just that they're cleaning your water, they actually drop the pH to a good level. So more alkaline. The more alkaline your water, the less chance you're going to get bad shit in your water, but it's better for your body. You want alkaline water always. High pH acidic water is really, really bad for it. I don't know if we've got a kit handy, but I can guarantee you that if I did a test on our normal tap water, and then I did a test on this tap water, you will see a massive reduction in pH, and it's going to alkaline our water, which is really, really good for your health. So that's pretty much it. It doesn't really matter that we can't do. That's the producer. She's on an L. She did okay, I think. I'm not sure. I'll review footage and we'll see how she did on the camera system. So there we go. Though, like that, we'll now be ready to have a glass of water out. Now you can see the water's actually slowed down a little bit. So I am just going to adjust up, which I couldn't with their regulator. I'm just going to adjust my pressure up a little bit, because I don't want to be here for half a day to fill up a glass of water, but I don't want it over pressurising. So that's pretty good. That's okay. So that's it. We've got our fresh water.
That looks really clear. Yes, we do have a.
That's the stuff. Again, it's not just filters that are taking all the crap out of your water, it's the alkalinity of your water, which is really, really important.
It comes out
If you
quite
don't
blue.
understand,
It's quite amazing.
if you don't understand what that means, just type it in Google. What pH level should water be to be healthy? And it will tell you alkaline.
It
So
comes out at about 8. Roughly.
our normal tap water.
This one should
Oh.
be 8.59,
Yeah.
which is quite alkaline. Which
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah, so there you go. That's pretty much it. I think we can wrap this one up. That was a really simple thing. Again, links in the description for where to get these from. I've had used this company before and they're really good. They last forever. It cost me about $70 to get replacement filters. And that's all 3 of them. But make sure you get the fluoride one. Most of the time when they sell filters, they're not selling the kit with the fluoride. They're just selling normal, get rid of large contaminants, which to me isn't good enough. So fluoride, you're getting rid of all the heavy metals, all that crap, and bacteria. It's like it's antibacterial. So if they pump shit water through Melbourne, we're not having that problem. We're still on town water. But we're getting really good quality water, and you can taste the difference. Like that water there tasted like water from a spring, fresh. When I just can't drink the tap water. I will refuse to drink the tap water. Everywhere we go, we take water bottles, and if they run out, we stop drinking the water. I really advise don't drink tap water. Don't trust what's in it, and watch the water. All right, guys, that'll do it. See you later. Hope you learned something.